I am a bad investor. Over the past year, I've spent hundreds of hours looking at the markets, both crypto and stocks. I've done so much research and I've talked to so many other investors. Would you like to know what that's led to? You don't have to answer that. I'll see it in the analytics for this video when a whole cluster of people click away because I'm wasting too much time. Loss. It's led to loss. I am really bad at picking winners. I'm also pretty bad at timing the market. Come with me, if you will, on a journey through my awful choices. It's been an overall terrible year for investing, but not everything's a loser, just everything I throw my money at. Let's start just a little less than a year ago when I put out this video about Strongblock node. It was the first node thing that I had looked into, and I very clearly recognized right away that it appeared to be too good to possibly be true. But it had already been going for a year at that point, and anyone who got into it earlier than I did made money. I was looking at the chart, I saw this huge spike that had come back down but leveled out and started an upward trajectory, so I decided let's get into this thing. First, I spent about $4,000 to get my first node, then $9,000, and then almost immediately I had spent $14,000 on Strong. But it was earning $210 per day, so it was on track to be a huge win if it just survived for a couple more months. Spoiler alert, it did not survive a couple more months. Strong peaked for the second time in the 700s, but then started going down slowly enough that it didn't look like the fiery hot lava pools of Mordor that it turned out to be. And by the time I stopped feeding that volcano, I had put a nasty $35,000 into that project. I only ever got back about $15,000, so we're starting out with a strong $20,000 loss. Next on the list, there was the Tavern. I didn't actually technically lose my own money on the Tavern. They sponsored a video where they gave me a brewery in exchange for me talking about the thing, which I did, while being very cautious to say how new and how dangerous this type of investing is, which was shown immediately by the Tavern having what I'm going to call a boat launch shaped trajectory. It just only went down from the moment I saw it. I used my brewery bucks to buy a few more breweries along the way, and as they made more and more mead, it was always worth less and less dollars all the way down until they scrapped the project, completely erased the whole thing, and made an announcement how they're working on something even better. Then I tried my hand at buying real estate in the Metaverse. It was such a hot topic at the time. I got my hands on some space in this place called Big Time. I think I spent about 1 Ether on that space, so in early 2022 dollars, that's like $2,500. I just recently checked on that one. The game has still not been released yet, but you can buy that same type and size of plot of land that I got for about half an Ether now. I don't know how to calculate this loss because the price of Ether has also significantly taken a dive, so we'll just use today's values and say $650 down for that one. Sphere. I learned about Sphere pretty early, but not early enough as it turns out, or at least not yet. Sphere got a huge initial boost and did one of those 1,000% run-ups and even had some like blast-offs and pullbacks along the way, which made it look really attractive. Then a bunch of bigger YouTubers got behind it and seemed to believe that they were doing this whole thing a bit better and differently than the rest. So I got in with about 3,000 bucks here. Imagine my excitement as we went rolling up to 11 cents. But I didn't get off that ride and it very quickly reversed course, chopped the value of my investment by about 80%, and it has pretty much just stayed there for the last 5 months. I'm hanging on to this one, but I'm going to mark it as a $2,500 loss for the year. Next up is 100 Days. I never knew what that stood for. I didn't like their marketing, I didn't really like the personality of the guys, and I was really not a fan of their zero production quality live stream. So I never even mentioned this project on my channel, but I did toss $4,000 in at pre-sale because at the time, pretty much all of these DeFi projects would start low, get really high, and then just sort of die off. Well, this one had this really high sale tax to try to prevent the die-off part. I think it was like 25% of whatever you sold, you would lose. So the price of the thing would have had to jump up significantly to make it worth pulling out. Funny story though, here's the chart starting at opening day. Real funny, guys. That's okay, we've got the ace in the hole, whatever that means. Huh. Evidently, originally in poker, your hand is a hole. And when you've got an ace, you've got a secret advantage. An ace in the hole. Bitcoin mining. I, of course, still believe Bitcoin mining was a solid investment, but my timing could have been a whole lot better. When I bought the bulk of my machines, they cost $10,000 each. Now, those same machines that make the same amount of Bitcoins at the same speed using the same amount of power, it costs about $3,700 instead. Ouch. Great time to buy machines right now if you've got cheap electricity or want a remote host, by the way, link in the description. If we're maximizing loss porn, then that's a $6,300 loss on each machine. I have 7 of these, so add $44,000 to the stack. Don't get me wrong, they've produced close to that dollar value of Bitcoin in the last year. Well, that original dollar value of Bitcoin when I bought the machines, if that's not confusing enough. But hilariously, both dollars and Bitcoins are worth less now than they were then. Awesome. This is all going so well. Ethereum is a similar story, I suppose. I spent, I think, around $8,000 getting 5 RTX 3080 cards that I built into mining rigs that have definitely made more than that amount back, except that I spent most of that Ether on all these terrible DeFi things that only ever lost money. Not all all of it, but the ETH that I have held has had an overall tendency to lose value over the last year. I staked 2 Ether into Coinbase, not knowing what I was doing, over a year ago, and they don't give you access to that. And even though it was earning, I guess, 5%, which I think is now 3.5%, the original value of that was like $9,000, and I think today it's down to $2,700. Goodness gracious. I bought 37,000 Neoxa just before the merge at Andy's behest. That's down 75%. I decided to start up 3 Flux nodes. And I want to be clear, I feel fine about the future of this at the moment. Proof of useful work seems like it will gain adoption in the future. But I got my hands on 3,000 Flux when the price was about $1.10. And if we look at it right now, 80 cents. Great. We're killing it. One of the pillars of my great plan to only work when I want to and not because I have to. The foundation to my future riches. The engine that will power the launch of my empire. And also the thing that I've lost the most money by far on, Microvision. In no way will I equate this one to my crypto portfolio, which is just made up of characters from the Breaking Bad universe, robbing ATMs and just playing the lottery over and over. This one is a brand new technology that is just being tested out in the real world for the first time. I believe this company has a good shot of having one of their sensors in about every 4th car ever made after the year 2026. It just happened to have some of history's worst imaginable timing for its engineering to finally be done. A year and a half ago, I sold a house to buy into this company. It was a spare house, don't feel bad for me. I'm now up to 13,071 shares of MVIS. Who knows what average value I paid for these? I bought them on a bunch of different exchanges and moved everything over to Webull. 2 free stocks in the description. But it's safe to say that I've probably spent more than they're worth now on the shares that I have. I added $75,000 to my position when it was a price of $12, thinking that was as bad as the market could get at the time. Now we're seeing $3.75. Boy, do I wish I had timed that differently. This stock will buy me my own warehouse facility sometime in the next 5 years. But right now, what I'm holding is worth a whopping $50,000. At the all-time high in 2021, the same number of shares that I have now had a value of $400,000. I 10x'd in the wrong direction. I had a really bad year. I'm dog shit at picking individual investments. To be fair, even looking at a normally very safe investment, let's look at the S&P 500 for example, went from 4,300 to 3,600, so you would have lost a fifth of your investment playing it safe over the last 12 months. It's been an ugly year, but odds are it won't be an ugly decade, and I'm not gonna stop opening these candy bars until I find my golden ticket. Does he put those in these?